Hey, I'm live. I'm back. I'm late. I know. Anyway, welcome to ErinCon 4, Day 3. I'm already like as tired and fatigued as if I was actually doing San Diego. Okay, that's not entirely true, but obviously I'm having trouble getting on the air on time. So, day-to-day life, trying to manage the house and, get in on the live stream on time. But anyway, here I am. And that gave us a couple people a chance to get in early. There's 2 people there. Oh, 3 now. Mike S. Miller quoting me, telling him I just can't stay off the internet. Well, I can't for the next 4 days, these past 3 days and one more day, and then I'll be off for at least a week. Okay, I'm not going to go into the old, let me show you what's on my table stuff today, because we've seen it twice. And if you want to see some of the original art or what I've got for sale, check out the beginnings of my 2 previous ErinCon 4 videos. And you can see what I've got for sale there and the deals that go with it. I want to do some drawing today. I am behind on my sketching and my drawing, so I kind of want to jump right into that. So I will take a quick visit to the table before we leave today, but I think it's just really important that I start drawing and actually being productive. So let's get rolling. I'm going to turn the magic camera over here to my messy desk, which we've all seen before. I'm loaded with water, so I don't want to get parched with all my conversation. I can wet the old whistle. Okay. So let's see. Let's do one of these sketchbooks, shall we? Oh yeah, John Smith. Yeah. I will be doing John Smith's Creature from the Black Lagoon. We may take it all the way to finish today. That's why I wanted to get rolling. Okay. What banner do I want to change? I want to change to this because we're going to do a sketchbook first, kind of get warmed up, and see what happens. Okay, let's open the old magic book here and see. I got a bunch of orders yesterday, so got a ton of these to do. All right, we did Wonder Man yesterday, and we're going to do the Falcon next because I haven't done the Falcon in ages, I tell you. And thankfully, right over to my left, I have that portfolio from yesterday that has the pages that I kept for myself, and one of them has a great shot of the Falcon in it, so I can just use that as reference while I'm drawing. It's really a thing of beauty. It all just sort of works together. So anyway, remember I showed you this page. There's our buddy the Falcon right there. So, and that's the version I'm doing. And just getting comfortable, which is a lot harder. Which is a lot harder the older I get. All right. Oh, shouldn't draw on this one since I've already drawn in it. That was Wonder Man from yesterday. So why don't I actually grab a book that I haven't drawn in, and we'll try that. Oh, Humphrey Bear is here. Okay. There's a lot of people in here cracking jokes, and that's good. Hey, it's 10:30 Saturday morning, at least on the West Coast. For you guys on the East Coast, it's well, at 11:30, 12 to 1:30. It's right in the middle of the afternoon. Of course, if you're in New York, you don't want to go outside anyway. Let's see here. Okay. Let's adjust our little camera here. This camera was a good purchase. Got it at Best Buy. It was right around $100, and I've been getting some use out of it, that's for sure. All right, the Falcon. It might be boring here and just do a straight-on shot. The only funny thing is I try to avoid doing straight-on shots because they're boring, but as a result, I haven't done hardly any. So to get a straight-on shot in one of these sketchbooks would actually be rare. That's how I'm going to justify all this anyway. Okay, I know you can't see the blue, but just bear with me as I kind of have to quickly knock in the features, and then I can go over it with a pencil. And then you will see it magically appear. All right, now I'm going to check his mask, which I think comes down like this. With the eye holes, of course, because he has to see. It makes sense. I remember when the Falcon first came out, I thought his green outfit was kind of stupid, because why would a guy called the Falcon be in a green outfit? And so I really liked it when they switched to his red and white one. But then I have to admit, I kind of like the green one now, but probably more because they just haven't used it. David Williams stopping by. All right, man. If you guys have not checked out his Bass Reeves book with Kevin Grievous, you should check that out. That's Allegiance Comics. They're doing them through Walmart. Yeah, it's a great book. It's a great looking book. David, of course, fantastic artist. So if you haven't checked those out, check them out. All right. Josh Olive has jumped in from down south, Alabama, I think, if memory serves. It's funny, I can't remember anybody's name, but I can remember where you're from, where you went to high school. Actually, I don't know that, but if you told me, I'd probably remember. Just for some weird reason, cannot remember names. My son is bringing his girlfriend over, whom we've never met, today, so I had to go get some groceries and prep for the barbecue and all that kind of stuff. I figure it must be somewhat serious if, he's bringing her over to meet us, because that could be that could ruin the relationship real quick. Hey, Ike is in here. Ike's got a sketch from me. I think, was it Ms. Marvel? I can't remember now. But he's joining us live for the first time. And thanks for taking the time, Ike, to come on in. The more the merrier, right? I mean, what do you got to do on a Saturday morning anyway? There's no good cartoons on anymore, so might as well watch this. This is somewhat cartoonish. Kind of psyched to draw that creature from the Black Lagoon, to be honest with you. Anytime I can draw a universal monster, well, let's be honest. Anytime I can draw a monster, period, I'm pretty happy. This is actually for Steve Branson, I think, and he actually ordered 2 books for me. That's dedication right there. I guess people are using these books as an excuse to get a fairly decent head sketch for a pretty reasonable price. I had several people ask me if I just do the head sketches, and I'm like, I'm trying to sell the books here, man. All right, so no. Rodney's here. Good morning. Good morning to you, Rodney. Thanks for stopping by. Dustin Whitney, do we need to message you for a sketchbook with a sketch special? No, you don't. All you have to do is read the scroll on the bottom there and go directly to PayPal and PayPal me the money, but just make sure you put in the message section there what you want. Like if you want a head sketch in there, say this is for a sketchbook with a sketch of, you know, whoever. And then make sure I have your correct mailing address on that PayPal account as well. And just send it and I will get it and I will do it. The same thing with the prints. If anybody wants a print, they've been all previewed the last 2 days. And like I said, I'll go over that stuff real quickly before we head out today. But you can do the same thing with the prints. If you're interested in any original artwork, like the pages from Justice League, or if you're interested in any of the signed comic books, I need you to message me first on those for availability to make sure I've got everything you want still. I've got a really serious problem in my studio. I continue to buy books, and I don't mean comic books, I mean like books, and I absolutely am completely out of shelf space, bookshelf space. I've got two really tall ones that go from the floor all the way to the ceiling, and then I have two more half bookshelves that go about halfway up, and they're all full. And I have no more space to put bookshelves, and yet I continue to buy books. So now they're starting to stack up, and it's getting a little annoying. I have to figure something out. I think someone suggested suspending a bookcase from the ceiling or something. I don't know. Now look what Fly Fox Pro said. Isn't this is nice. I appreciate that. Okay. Just looking really quickly at the messages here. Okay. Back to the Falcon. Oh, so yeah, I tried to get Terry to drop in, and he said he was too busy. He was working. He was behind on his work. He's working on Adventure Man. I know it's coming out regularly now on a regular schedule, so he may be behind on that. He could be blowing me off, but I'll believe that he's actually too busy to sit around and be interviewed on my live stream right now. But I asked him about maybe tomorrow, so we'll see. I've never actually had a guest on one of these. I mean, technically I know how to operate it, but I would probably have somebody on and then not be able to get them on screen or something like that. I've always had really good luck. My internet sucks because I'm upstairs, so I'm on Wi-Fi, and I have not, at least during one of these live feeds, dropped it yet. I have dropped when I'm on other people's live feeds as like a guest or something, but I have not dropped on my own. So let's pray that holds true for the next 2 days anyway. John Smith, I'd be interested in the, okay. That was a message. Somehow now my Facebook is connected to my phone. So anytime someone sends me a Facebook message, it dings. It's just technology, man. This is my fancy scribble technique for apparently doing Falcon's hair. He looks kind of young. I really pictured the Falcon as young. I kind of pictured him as kind of experienced. So was he technically Cap's sidekick, or was they partners? How would you view that? He probably didn't look at himself as a sidekick. But then again, he's a fictional character, so he doesn't look at himself at all. But I'm just, throwing that out there. Because it was Captain America and the Falcon, so it was sort of a team-up book. I wonder, actually, I'm sort of curious now that I brought that up. I wonder why, was Cap's sales lagging that they needed to charge it up with like a, another team member, like they did with Power Man and Iron Fist. Is like both of them were not really selling that great, and so they figured, well, if we put them both in the same book, we can get double the audience. I don't know. I'm just curious. I guess I should have asked Stan Lee that question when I had the chance, but probably wasn't on the forefront of my mind. I will say this: when I was in film school at USC, he came the USC Comic Club, and yes, apparently there is such a thing. They had him come in and guest speak, right? And so I went to this thing. Of course, I went to it, and so listen to him talk, about Stan Lee type stuff, right? And is that crayon you're using? Yeah, David, that's what it is. It's crayon. No, it's the Le Pen drawing pen. I don't know if that's I don't know if it's actually French or not. But no, that's, yeah, I mean, it's, I don't know if you're trying to be funny or or just because of the way it sounds when I'm drawing on the book. I don't know. Actually, David, I should send you a request and have you come on with me and talk about Bass Reeves, since you're here anyway, while I'm drawing, and see if it works. I'm going to do it. I'm going to send you a request to enter the live stream, and let's see if I hit invite. Send this link to your guests. You may also want to share our instructions for guests. You can have up to 10 people at screen at once. Okay, so, oh, I see. So I can send it to Messenger. Okay, so who am I sending this to? I'm sending it to David Williams. I have no idea if this is going to work, but I'm doing it anyway. Okay. See, I knew I'd do something wrong. I can't even figure out what I'm doing here. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to search him out here. There he is. Okay. Okay, so if I do that, Okay, so if I want to send him a message, right? Enter friends, okay. This is already on Facebook, so it should. It's not recognizing it as a legit. This is exciting stuff for you guys, isn't it? Admit it. Why? All right, well. Okay, so I should be able to send it, but it won't send. See, technology is, technology blows. Well, I tried. David's like wiping his brow going, oh, at least they're good. I don't have to go on. So back to the Falcon. In fact, I'm going to go here to my smaller thing here. Okay. What I'll do is I'll work on that whole inviting somebody thing when I'm actually off the air, so that maybe tomorrow I can sucker somebody into coming on. You can chat comics. You guys can get another opinion of it from a exactly. David's like, it's like sweating bullets. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it didn't work. So it should have messaged you on. It came up and said, "Do you want a message, email, or whatever?" And so I thought, well, okay, I'll message you. So I typed your name in, and it should have had your Facebook address, but it apparently wouldn't let me send once I put it in there. So I don't know. The heck? This is exactly what happens to me when I'm actually at a con. I've got pens all over the place. I can't find anything. My wife used to do the shows with me, and she like kept all this stuff organized, and I'd be like looking around. She'd just hand me stuff because she knew where it was. And that was back in the good old days. Now she's learned the lesson of, she goes to the shows, but sort of spends more time in the hotel by the pool and that kind of thing, and sort of joins us all for dinner after the show. So she wised up pretty quickly. But now that my daughter's off to college, once they start doing shows again, I'm going to make her come with me. That's right, behind you. Oh, David, that's pretty funny. All right. Does he have any? Not really. Let's get kind of this going on here, so we'll just kind of do that. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. I give you the Falcon. and then I give you my signature. And what book number is this? That's the big question right now. And I think we're at 174. I really want to get to 200 before the end of the year. So you guys need to really start ordering. Actually, I got orders up to book number 179 right now. So I'm 20 away from 200. All right. So the Falcon is done. Steve Branson's book order is complete. Let's see, Rodney's here. So you know what, Rodney, because you're here, I know you're here. You were here earlier. I'm going to do your Wonder Woman, and then we're going to go for Creature of the Black Lagoon. Okay. What does that mean? Okay. Gmail, email, messenger. I'm trying this again, by the way. 2. Okay, why doesn't that? Let me try somebody else. I wonder if I have to, what if I copy this? Let me see what this does. I'm going to be, no, it still doesn't work. Why wouldn't that work? I think the system's flawed is what I think. I think because I put somebody else in there. Still doesn't work. Why? I don't know. I guess it's a very disappointing. Thank you, David. David says it turned out nice, even though he's not live to join me because I can't figure out how to send him an invite. It can't be that hard. And I forgot what number this book was. What did I say? 174? Does anybody remember? It's amazing that every time I do one of these live streams, you'd think I'd get better at them, but I actually get worse. They get more disorganized. 174 it is. And I'm going to do that Wonder Woman, and then we're going to do Creature from the Black Lagoon. Yeah. Cheapo sketch in a book can be yours for $45. Yes, you can get one of these with a sketch in it just like that. Okay, Rodney, I'm going to do your, I got to go over to the old, I've got boxes of these books like stacked all over my house. I'm sure my wife's getting really irritated with me. I am on box 6 though, so I'm moving them, but I think there's like 20 some boxes of them. So maybe a while before I get through them all. All right, Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman. Let's see, why don't we? I've yet to really sort of screw up one of these, at least badly enough that I had to like start over and can it. Let's hope this isn't, I should have knocked on wood, right? Let's hope this isn't the first time I screw it up and say, wow, that really blows. I need to redo this whole thing. Okay. Mark Anthony, you did not answer my question from last night. Did you get the email I sent you about you were asking about some prints and some old sketchbooks? Did you get that email from me? Now we got to wait for the time delay. Let's see what he says. What does greater than mean or less than mean? Is that yes? I mean, I don't know what that means. You guys have to remember that when you talk to me, you have to talk to me like I'm an old man who doesn't know anything about anything that's going on in the internet or memes or anything like that, or what certain symbols are supposed to mean. You got to talk English to me, man. Yep, got the email. Thank you. See, that I understand. I've been having trouble with my email. It like sometimes sends out I can't figure out what ever since it got hooked up on the cloud, it's like everything is screwed up. That's like the most evil thing. I guess it saves your stuff, which is good in case your computer crashes, but man, nothing else seems to be working right since that. I was just talking to my mother, who's 88, and kind of talking about how crappy things are in today's society and all that kind of stuff. And of course, back when my day kind of thing. And I said, yeah, I wouldn't mind going back in time and living in a different era as long as they had indoor plumbing. I don't want to go back so far that they don't have indoor plumbing. That's kind of the deal breaker for me. And I guess we do have like some pretty decent medical advancements that are advantageous. Well, I don't know. Are we really living all that much longer? I don't know. Probably because we were eating better back then, so we didn't have as much wrong with us. Speaking of which, I gotta go on a diet, man. I'm about 10 to 15 pounds, a little bit on the wrong side of the scale right now, and but these events keep coming up that require dessert items, and it's kind of hard not to eat dessert, right? This is my wife's birthday recently. My daughter, right? She goes to the drive-in movie last night and saw Star Trek II and Raiders of the Lost Ark. I'm like, I wanted to go to that, but anyway, but she's like, oh, got to make cookies so we have something to eat while we're there. So so I get down there, and last night getting ready for bed, and there's this just racks of chocolate chip cookies, and I'm like, well, okay, I'll have 5 before I go to bed, and then that should be enough. This guy looks like a fashion model pose of Wonder Woman. But you know what? I think that's fine. Oh, I see. It's an ongoing joke referencing my name, Mark Anthony says about the little symbol thing that confused me. Indoor plumbing and central air conditioning. Well, I lived before air conditioning, so at least we didn't have any when I was growing up. We would open up the back door, screen door, we'd put the fan in the door and just lay on the floor because it was so hot, like in August. Good times. It was a simpler time. David Williams says, I did the 30-day 100 push-ups a day challenge. And how'd it go? Are you like ripped out of your mind now? Did you lose any weight? Is there a... See, my problem is my shoulders are shot from lifting weights. I started lifting probably when I was 18 and didn't stop till I was well into my 30s. And I was getting most of my workout routines from Muscle and Fitness magazine, right? And of course, all those dudes are on roids. We should get back on the basketball court again. Dude, oh my gosh. I haven't picked up a basketball I'll bet I have not picked up a basketball in like 6 years. Now, it is a little bit like riding a bike, but you know, I used to play a little bit with my son, but he tore his ACL back to back, and was pretty much the end of his basketball career. So now I don't have anyone around here to play with. So I guess I'll have to move to New Mexico so me and David Williams can hoop it up. We did play in San Diego. When did we ever have time in San Diego to go play basketball? Well, we did. It was you, me, Jason Pearson, who was horrible, by the way, I just have to say. And I say that jokingly. I think I said that to his face, like, Jason, come on, man, what are you doing? Who did? I think Gary was there. Martin. I can't remember if Jerome was there or not. That wasn't like an outdoor, like we were in an outdoor park or something during San Diego. Like we took a lunch break or something and went and shot hoops. It's the weirdest thing. So I can't imagine me going to San Diego and not staying at my table every second to earn money. That's sort of why I go. But apparently back then, what the heck, right? Let's go shoot some hoops. But we had a game against, Jerome was there. Okay. Did you play in that gym game where we went and played the Image Guys? Because I know Jerome was there. Okay. Jerome, man, we had talked to him the day before and said, hey, we're playing these guys. And this was at night. This is after the con. We went to some gym or something. And we were supposed to meet Jerome. I can't remember where. I think at the convention center or his hotel or whatever. And we were all jammed into this car driving to this, to this gym. And there's Jerome just walking down the sidewalk, like Jerome, we were supposed to be going to play basketball. What are you doing, So I don't know if he had his shoes with him or if we had to take him someplace to get his shoes. I don't know, but it was so funny. But I don't know, David, did you play in that one? Well, I know we talked a lot of smack, but that was in the outdoor game. But did you go to the gym and play the Image Guys with us? I can't remember if you were with us on that or not. We had to have had enough guys to play. We had to have had 5 guys. And it was me, Gary Martin, Jerome, and I can't remember if you were there or not. Yeah, we all talked a lot of smack, but as I recall, I was the only one who could back it up. Oh. Actually, Gary was pretty good. I have to give him credit. He played some junior college ball, I guess. And also he's about 6'5", 6'6". So he knew his way around. Jerome's actually pretty good too. Okay, you were there. Okay, yeah, I lost my wallet. My wife was so pissed at me when I got back to the hotel. That was, yeah. And then I called like an hour later. It was 30 minutes later. I got back and they were like, there's no wallet here. And I'm like, you guys just took my wallet. But I couldn't really prove that they did. So, but no one found it, allegedly. None of my San Diego money was in the wallet, but, driver's license and all that kind of stuff. It ticked me off. I think we also got beat. Oh my gosh, I couldn't hit. I was out of shape. I could not get my shot to go down, which really irritated me because I was a pretty good player in high school, and I knew we should have beat those guys from Image, and it just ticked me off. They were just all younger and better shape. Oh, well, what are you going to do? We had a good time. Oh my gosh, Rodney, you're in New Mexico too. Is there like a crowd of people from New Mexico? My daughter's actually going to college in Phoenix. So, but New Mexico's on the other side of Arizona, right? It's not on the west side, it's on the east side. I can't remember. But there's a lot of cool stuff like in Arizona and New Mexico, like, you know, rock formations and that type of thing. So I would love to go. Well, maybe we can all hook up at a show sometime if we ever have them again. I assume they will next year. But I'll have to have at least like a month or more to get in shape. I did coach it for 6 years at. We had a basketball camp at my church I coached there for 6 years, and we would always have the guys would, you know, the coaches would play, of course, right? And I was like the oldest dude out there, and it wasn't pretty. It was okay in the low post, but yeah, my ball handling skills and quickness have diminished considerably. Now I'm just like the old fat guy that sets up and down on the post and pushes the younger guys around. That's pretty much my game. We used to hate those guys when we played older guys when I was young, because they're always holding and grabbing and throwing you to the floor and stuff, just roughing you up. And now I've become that guy. So. See, when you get Wonder Woman, I have to like spend all this time working on her hair. I could leave it open, but it just wouldn't feel right. All right, Rodney's offering me up a free tour of Santa Fe if I go to New Mexico. Well, I assume they got to have some comic shops there, right? Maybe I should set up a signing or something. Okay. That looks like a quality headshot of Wonder Woman, doesn't it? Made for $20 anyway, right? Mark Anthony has responded to my email. He hasn't left me hanging anymore, and I appreciate that. All right, so this is lucky number 175. There we go. All right, Rodney. Glad you like it. I'll get all this stuff mailed out. Hopefully on Monday and Tuesday. So we'll see. All right. Now the moment we've all been waiting for. Creature from the Black Lagoon. Now I cheated a little bit because I blue lined it last night because I kind of had an idea in my mind and I sort of wanted to get it down on paper. This is me typing again. But I want to get a shot of his face. I don't know if I'm going to do it exactly like the movie, but I kind of want to get an idea of what I'm doing. All right. All right. Okay. So I want to get this face down, and then I can sort of. Does anybody remember that Dark Horse did an adaptation of the movie that Art Adams drew? This was a long time ago, maybe even like late 80s, early 90s. That was pretty cool, as I recall. I have it someplace, stashed away in my long boxes. This has got to be one of the great monster costumes of all time. I mean, seriously, from the 55, 54 movie. And it's just, I just thought it was really, really good. I always have a tough time between this and Arloff's Franklin, is which ones are my my favorite Universal monster, that is. All right. May have to take some liberties with that head, but I want to get make sure I figure out the rest of this body on here. Looks a little cross-eyed. There we go. So he has these tremendous claw-like hands. They're webbed. I don't know. I just thought this was really just how much do you think this suit is worth if it still exists? I imagine it probably does someplace like in the Smithsonian or someplace like that. It's got to be worth a few bucks. Those are the serious collectors, man. Guys that can afford movie memorabilia stuff. There was a was at San Diego, and it wasn't Heritage Auctions, but it was another auction place. And they had, it might have been the Profiles in History, now that I think about it. But they had a clapper from Jaws, you know, just one of the random film clappers from Jaws, and it was sitting there, and I thought, you know, that might be something I can afford. You know, it was like, I figured that's got to be what maybe someone might pay, you know, $3,000 to $5,000 for that. Ended up going for like 60 grand. It's like, you gotta be kidding me, for just a clapper that, you know, Jaws written on it. I don't know. 60 grand. So obviously out of my price range. Us comic book guys, we don't, you know, well, at least I don't make that much money. There might be a couple guys who do, but I ain't one of them. Let's see, you know, he's got that sort of, there it is. That's the shot I want right there. He's got his gills, but then he kind of got his, he's got a midriff thing going on here that's different than it kind of goes like this. And then these are just sort of more like that. I should click back over and make sure that you guys can, yeah, okay, you guys can see that. Because I've got a different screen on right now. I'm watching or looking at the reference, so I can kind of get all this done correctly. I feel like I should have him standing in some water, though. This is for John Smith. He's a, my gosh, I've known John from the very first year I was in Artist Alley at San Diego back in the old days. So like 88 or 89. And now he's like, works for the con. Well, volunteer works for the con, right? San Diego con, I mean. So we go way back. All right, I think I have enough reference now that I can kind of go back and wing it. 1990, 91. Now, what was the first year? What was the first year in the big convention center? Was 92 the first year in the big convention center? Wait a minute. Oh, this is late, but I'm going to put it up there anyway, because anytime another professional says something nice about you, you got to post it. There it is. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, David. Okay, now what is this? I still think Harvey Birdman defending the creature for illegal fishing in Atlantis with name and document in the background. Yeah, that's yeah, a little more complicated than you're going to get in this sketch. Mark Anthony, you in Florida? You got hurricanes? I haven't even been paying attention. Well, 1990 was the last year at the old one. Okay, so I was there 2 years set up in Artist Alley before we went over to the new building. So I was there in 89 and in 90. 90 was the first year John Smith went, but it wasn't the first year I went. I actually started going as a fan I was down in film school in like 85, right? So I'm down there in LA at USC. And it just dawned on me one year. I was like, why am I not going to the San Diego Comic-Con when I'm practically living right here in the backyard? And so I started going in 87, and I have not missed a year since. Now, technically, some people are, oh, I need to click that off. Some people are saying that we missed this year and it broke their streak. But I say, if they're not having the con, how could we be missing it? Right? So my streak is still alive. That's how I look at it. Because you can't say I missed a show if there wasn't a show to miss, right? So I've been to every, that's the way I'll put it. I've been to every show since 1987. Although I don't know how I would have set up in 89, because I don't think I was doing anything in 89. I don't think I started doing like Forbish Man stuff until 1990. That's an excellent question, because in 89, I was working at the Art Farm Studios, commercial art studio in Portland, Oregon. I was not in comics, at least full time. I was breaking in at that time. So maybe I wasn't set up in 89. I don't know. I could swore that I was set up for 2 years, though. Let me zoom in here a little bit. Yeah. I don't know if I want to draw him with pupils or not. Makes him look too like aware. There's too much. I used to do T-shirts too, as I recall now. Thing about doing T-shirts is it's so hard to carry enough of the right sizes, because you never know. So you have to have a lot of inventory, which means you could end up getting stuck with a lot of inventory. And I'm not a big fan of spending money and not not having a way to get it back, right? So, but I just did that this weekend. I had 5 full-size Jaws posters printed up, because I figured, 5, I can sell 5. No one's shown any interest yet. I get stuck with 5 Jaws movie posters. Because they're too big to like haul around to conventions, I think. So Stupid eyes to match up. All right, that's enough to get me rolling on the inking stage. Oh, Mark Anthony, you're in South Texas, like Houston-ish. I don't know. Would that really be considered? That'd be more like Southeast Texas. I don't know. I just know that it gets very humid in Houston, and it didn't really dawn on me that it was. When I first went there to do a signing at Bedrock City, it was so humid, and I was like, "My gosh, this feels like Tampa." And then, of course, it dawned on me that it was right across the bay from Tampa, so why wouldn't the weather be similar? Sure, I've said this before, but I got hooked on these or hooked up with these Le Pen things because Mark Brooks recommended them to me. And they do work pretty nice. I don't know if I honestly don't know if they're any better than, microns or whatever, but I'm always interested in trying something new. I'm surprised that no one's ever asked me to do like, some EC characters. Maybe that's because you guys are too young. Or like Uncle Creepy or something like that. Oh. This is going to be a shadow, just in case you're wondering, what's that line there for? Dark Horse was doing, like, in the early 90s, they were doing adaptations of these Universals. They got the license for them and stuff. And I think, so Arthur did The Creature from the Black Lagoon, and a guy named Den Bouvet, who was a kind of a painter / comic artist. He did an 8-color Alien series for them first. And anyway, he ended up doing the Frankenstein adaptation, which broke my heart because I wanted to do that, but I was not of the stature or the talent at the time to do it, but I really wanted to do it anyway. I'm still not of the stature, but I think talent-wise, I think I could do it. I should just do it anyway, right? Go my own adaptation and just dare Universal to shut me down. I tried to do of course, being a child of the 70s, I'm just totally obsessed with portfolios and stuff, because that was like the big thing in the 70s. Everybody was doing art, comic art portfolios, and I tried to do one in the early 90s when I was in commercial art, but I had not really broken into comics beyond, silly stuff I was doing for the humor magazine or humor comic for Marvel. And so I wanted to do this Universal Monsters portfolio, right? So I'd done these fairly elaborate pieces: Frankenstein, Wolfman, Nosferatu, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which of course was Paramount, but wasn't Universal. But so I was trying to get and Phantom of the Opera silent version, right? So I did all these pieces, and it was really interesting because I still have them, but I did them in black and white, and inked them and everything, and then I got overlays shot, transparency shot, right? And then what I did was took marker bond paper, and put the transparencies down. I put the marker paper over the top of them, right? And used a light table and basically marker colored them with gray markers. And I remember I was using Prismacolor markers. And of course, all these markers are alcohol based, right? Man, I spent hours in this closed room working on this stuff. And I was buzzed from inhaling all the alcohol from the. But anyway, so then I would take the marker, the sheet of the gray tones, right, and then I took the transparency and laid it over the top of that, and then had those scanned or photographed at the time. I don't think we even had scanners, and that's how I made my illustrations to do the prints of. And I called Universal. I was quite the daring young lad back then, and actually got a hold of the lady that was in charge of licensing, and we had a nice conversation. But she's like, "Look, you're not going to sell enough of these that's even going to be worth our while to do a contract." So, but it was funny because she was like really super nice, and you would think, some Hollywood licensing person would not waste their time with, some young guy. They had no idea who I was, or probably didn't even care. But she, returned my call, and I was trying to, finagle. Well, yeah, but what if I did this? What if I did that? And she's like, "Nope, it's not worth it to us." And I said, "Well, how about if I just do it illegally and you try and shut me down? How would that be?" No, I didn't say that. So I never did anything with it, which is probably good because they weren't really as good a quality as they should have been. Yeah, everybody's too young. Yeah. Oh, golly. That's good stuff. So Lloyd, aka the collector, has joined. Why doesn't, here's an interesting question that I actually have the answer for. Why doesn't Marvel use the old Malibu characters? Because all of us meaning all of us that worked at Malibu and helped, create these characters, have a fairly, by comic book standards, large stake in the characters. So they would actually have to pay us royalties every single time they used them. So they're not going to use them. Is that a tangent you see? You're high, man. I don't see one. Let's wait till it's done. Okay, you're like my daughter. She starts criticizing my art before I'm even finished with it. And I'm like, there's a lot going to happen between now and then. Let's see. Well, you'd have webbing here. Yeah, okay. Malibu Mummy. What are you getting at, Humphrey Bear? Actually, for those of you who might be monster fans, which are probably not very many of you, right? But I wrote, penciled, and inked a Xena story where when Topps had the license for Xena, and it was a mummy story. So Xena goes to Egypt, basically, and encounters Cleopatra. And it was so funny because if you do your research, Cleopatra was Greek. Okay, she was not Egyptian. But in the television show, they'd used a black actress to portray Cleopatra. And so I had to make the character, after I'd already drawn her like white, basically Greek looking. I had to color her black because of the television show. And I'm like, well, you know. And of course, being the purist I was like, no, she's Greek. She's from the Ptolemy line. And you know, when Alexander the Great took over the world, he put the Ptolemies in charge of Egypt, and they were Greeks. And so, unless I'm sure there might have been some intermarrying there with the Egyptians, but anyway, that's this little historical thing. But anyway, so yeah, I didn't draw her to look like the actress, and I would have had I known I was supposed to, but so anyway. But anyway, it's a nice mummy story. I got a couple pages actually I kept. I showed you those pages that I kept. Well, I've got more that I've kept that aren't in that portfolio, and a couple of them are from that Xena story. And it has, I used Karloff's mummy, of course, as the model for the mummy. And because Xena was, of course, tongue-in-cheek, right? I named the mummy Come On. Somebody tried, one of my friends was like, no, name him Come On, Ma. And I was like, no, I'm not going to go that far. But yeah, so it's called Xena Bloodlines. It was a 2-issue miniseries. So, and I also did a Xena 0 issue that Hilary Barta inked for me that I wrote and penciled. It also has monsters in it, of course. Zombies and some goblin-esque kind of things. And so if you want to be a Lopresti completist, check out the Xena stuff. Come on. Come on. No, it was come on. So you switch your H and your K and you got it. And of course, Xena's friend that she went to see was like one of the royal palace guards, and his name was Judicus, right? And of course, he ends up betraying her at the end. Probably no one saw that coming, huh? But the interesting thing about Xena, she has quite a, or did have quite a following. And it's kind of like when I drew Wonder Woman, sales weren't great, but they were, because sales on Wonder Woman have never been that great, at least, prior to the movie anyway. And, but man, the fans of Xena are just intense and very loyal. It's kind of like Legion. That the book is so funny because every time they do it at DC, it never really sells. They end up having to cancel it, right? But there is such a strong fan following. It's a small number, but they are intense. Like I did one issue before I took over Wonder Woman. I did one issue of Legion, and I sold the entire issue of art to one guy. And then the other people were pissed at me because they wanted pages from it, but I sold the whole thing. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's see. Nod Judas. That sounds like a trustworthy name there. But it was Judicus, so it was like the the Greek or Roman version of it. Oh man. Found a signed Xena comic on eBay. Says Xena fights some zombies. That's it. That is it. That is the Xena Zero issue. That's not the Mummy issue, but it's the Xena Zero issue I did. I don't have any copies of it left, I don't think. I mean, I have some in my private collection. Like, so I always keep a copy or two of everything I ever did. But as far as ones available for consumer consumption, I don't have any left. Mm-hmm. This might have been my son's favorite monster movie. Of course, I, like a good father, showed not my daughter. She's not, that's a no-go. Monster movies are absolute no-go with her. But my son, that was his favorite. Was the creature. All right, so I went to get some Copic black markers yesterday, and they're so stinking expensive because I quit refilling them. I reject trying to refill them. They're too messy. So I'm just buying new ones, and I was like, God, I don't want to pay $7 for a pen. Now, I know they're cheaper online, but I was actually at the Blick store, and so they had their own brand of Blick pens, right? And they were like $3 a piece. And I'm like, you know what? I bet these are the exact same thing. So we'll see, because I'm trying them right now. If they bleed all over the place, well, sorry, John. Sort of screws up your commission, doesn't it? No, I would redo it if I screwed it up. See, shadow action there, and then I'm going to carry it over to here. You know, I used to use a lot of blacks in my work, you know, when I was working on sludge and stuff at Malibu, because it was, you know, it was a monster book, so it was supposed to be creepy. And then I really sort of got away from it because I used to find that a lot of colorists I worked with, they didn't really pay attention to your lighting source. And so, like, you spend all this time doing it as, you know, laying the shadows in and establishing a light source, and then the colorist doesn't pay any attention to it. So I kind of got ticked about it, and I thought, well, so I started doing more open stuff because I figured the colorist is going to do what they're going to do anyway. And but now I'm sort of looking back and kind of thinking I want to use a little bit more black, because that's the way to really create volume and three-dimensional volume to your work, is by dropping in some heavy black shadows. Now, I didn't want to sound like I was just ripping on all colorists, because I have some friends who are colorists. They're actually, you know, really good. So I'm not suggesting that all colorists suck. I'm just saying that I had a few that weren't really paying attention to what I was doing, and started pushing me away from using heavy blacks. But and obviously the light source is coming down this way, creating these shadows. I did last con. I did a well, I don't know if it was the last one. One of the, yeah, it might have been. No, it was one of the earlier ones. I think the con I did instead of Seattle. John Smith, the guy who's getting this, I did a Space Ghost for, and that turned out really well too. So you got to come at me with the interesting and somewhat unusual requests, and who knows, you might get a better piece of art out of it. Not that I'm intentionally hacking everybody else's. Of course, that's not what I'm implying. I'm just saying that sorry, you guys are missing all the leg action down here. That's kind of the thing. You start dropping in a shadow like they did with his arm or something like that, and you're kind of like committed, saying, well, that wouldn't be the only place there'd be a dark shadow, so I better. So it sort of puts you in a position where you have to sort of think your way through the rest of the shadows and where they would be on the body. Abe Sapien's joining us from Hellboy fame, says, nice creature. Thank you, Abe. I appreciate it. Did you work on any... Hyper Potato wants to know, did you do any work during the 80s black and white explosion? No, I was in school still at that point. I was buying some of that stuff. Sadly, I missed getting my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle #1, but I did get the Tick, so that was pretty humorous. And I remember radioactive, what was it? Adolescent radioactive black belt hamsters. Remember that? Boy, I wonder what that was a ripoff of. And then there was like Fish Police and some other stuff that was kind of had its moment in the sun. Lone Wolf and Cub. That was really kind of a cool time for comics, because there was a lot of the independent publishers, like Pacific, who was doing Mr. Monster. That was Pacific, or was that Eclipse? I can't remember. But they were doing Mr. Monster, which was kind of fun. And then there was, which I bought that. And of course, The Rocketeer by Dave Stevens. That was Pacific Comics. And yeah, so there was the big two were working and putting out good stuff. That was like Killing Joke. And those of you who remember Camelot 3000 by Mike Barr and Brian Boland was really a cool series. And then followed up by Boland went and did The Killing Joke with Alan Moore after that, which was just epic. So there was a lot of really sort of interesting stuff going on in comics back then. McFarlane taking over Spider-Man. So, yeah, I did a couple comics for a publisher called Blackthorn. And I don't know if I should reveal the titles or not, because it was actually my first professional work. And it's not great stuff. Yeah, NEC stuff. That was the Tick, wasn't it? New England Comic Company or whatever. But yeah, so I did actually. So yeah, I didn't do any black and white work, but the company I did my first work for was, it was actually a 3D comic. So they had the 3D. It wasn't really in color. I guess it was black and white, but it was in 3D. So it was like had the red and green sort of printing going on. Yeah, but it wasn't good. It was not good. Then I did some issues of Rambo for them, but I don't think they ever got published. I think they went under before those got published. I know I didn't get paid for them. But of course, back then it was like if you did work for a black and white comic, you were just trying to get something published. You were hoping to get paid, but not really expecting to. Blackthorn, Hamster Vice. I think Roach Mill started there. Yeah. And then, of course, Cerebus, although he started way earlier. Cerebus, the Aardvark. I mean, that was in the early 80s, wasn't it? Or late 70s even? Kind of like the same time that Wendy and Richard Pini were doing ElfQuest. Sort of ahead of the curve. It was also there was an independent book called First Kingdom, which I think came out in the late 70s or early 80s. It was kind of one of these precursors to the self-publishing boom. I mean, obviously in the 70s there was a ton of fanzines being published. And that's where a lot of guys got their start, is they would do a little story for a fanzine, and it'd get seen by somebody. And I remember Mike Zeck did a short Submariner story in a fanzine, and I think that was what got him discovered. Wrightson, of course, was always contributing to fanzines, and so see where we're at here. I didn't do a ton. I dropped out of collecting from about 1980 when I turned 16 and got a car and was like dating girls and things like that. My priorities changed, we shall say. I didn't ever get rid of my collection, but I really wasn't into it like I had been, because I had other stuff I needed to spend my money on. And so I did, and then of course the 80s were my college years, so I was kind of on and off buying, but I didn't really start up again until the late 80s. I was still down in LA going to USC, or pardon me, I was no longer at USC. I was actually, well, let's see, when did I started in 85, December of 88, but I was out, I think spring of 87, and then, no, spring of 88. And then I stayed all the way in LA till December of that year, then moved back to Portland. But yeah, so I didn't really start getting back into collecting again until I was out of school, which would have been late 87. I started getting back into it again. So I don't really know what the moral of that story is, but it is a story. So, at least it's something. Now, tomorrow for the final day of ErinCon 4, I think I'm probably going to end up going in the evening. Again, make sure you check your local listings for time. I'll post it tomorrow morning-ish sometime on Facebook and Twitter. But I think I'm going to go in the evening. We had a pretty wild crowd last night for the Friday night thing. And I figure everybody will be around Sunday evening. So it'll give me during the day, give me a chance to maybe get caught up on some of this stuff so I can actually have a couple finished pieces to show you guys. Although I am going to finish this, if you stick around long enough to see it. It's noon right now. What time did I start? 10:30? Yeah. Kind of wanted to wrap this up by 12:30. Let's see if it happens or not. Okay. Now, I think I'll indicate a little bit of water down here, then I'll do the rest with the markers. Now, seriously, I'll have, well, I'm not going to promise. I'm hoping to have all the other stuff, all the other con commissions that I started finished. I'll do one more tomorrow, or maybe I'll do all my sketchbooks tomorrow. I don't know. Okay. I probably should go a little extra. Usually I don't put any background in these things because, well, come on, what do you want for $200? But I am going to kind of indicate a tree back here so we get a sense that we are indeed in kind of the swamp or something. See, that's the thing. Sometimes I do a little extra work on some of these depending on what I feel the actual image requires of me. So if you ask for something a little unusual, you might actually get a little more bang for your buck, as they say. I mean, this isn't much bang for the buck. It's not like I'm creating a genius work or something, but it's a happy little swamp, the comic legend says. It is. Should draw Shrek like peeking over here. Would I ever want to put out a black and white book? Heck yeah, I would. No one would buy it, but I love black and white stuff. I mean, Garbage Man, for example, the amount of line work and detail in that book is actually, it looks better in black and white. But, you know, who's going to buy a black and white book? If there was still sort of a market for that kind of thing, absolutely I would. I used to love Creepy and Eerie magazines back when I was a kid, and that was all black and white and with some ink wash and things like that. And I just don't know. It's kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if anybody would buy it or not. Like if I was doing like a Frankenstein adaptation or something, for example, of, you know, like the movie or something in comic form, I would definitely want to do it in black and white. Kind of stay true to the source material. All right, so we're going to marker this sucker up. After I got to erase a little bit. I'm not going to go too crazy with the erasing because, you know, it is I like it. I love it how we call these things sketches. This is like way beyond a sketch, obviously, but you still kind of want that sort of rough, sketchy feel to it. So it, I mean, I do. Some people may look at it and go, that doesn't look finished, but I don't know. Sketchbook stuff is really interesting looking because it's just a little bit looser. It has a little bit more energy in it. If you get rid of too much of that, especially on a piece like this deserves to be kind of, you know, feel kind of sketchy like that. All right, so there he is in glorious black and white. So now let's see if I can find my pens. Just give me a minute here. Oh, you know what? They're all the way back here. That's crazy, man. Oops. Boy, imagine me hitting the camera. How unprofessional. All right. We're going to go with some cool grays. Not because cool grays are cool, but or any cooler than any other color, but they are cool in the sense that they are cold, or they tend to lean towards the blue spectrum. I got to quit hitting this camera. Okay, I'm trying to get this kind of like so we can all see. All right, so I'm going to go in with a cool gray zero. Warren Montgomery says everyone will buy a black and white book. Can you prove that to me, Warren? Or are you just trying to sucker me? Anyway, so I go ahead and I put a little zero gray on here, and that sort of acts as my base, if you will. And then I can go and put in heavier grays over the top of this, and it just helps it blend a little bit better. Now I'm using, this is a slick paper. It's not a matte finish really, or a, you know, vellum, I guess would be the word I'm looking for. Vellum surface. It's a smooth surface board. And the reason I do that is I just like the smooth surface, even though if it had a little bit of tooth to it, the markers would probably work better on it. On the slick surface, they tend to, same with the ink lines, they tend to sit on top of the paper rather than really soak into it because it's a coated paper. And so you're running a bigger risk of bleeding your blacks because they're not really soaked into the paper. Well, these seem to be holding up pretty well. So maybe I'll go, I might start using those Blick markers. They're cheaper and the black isn't bleeding, at least very badly. And the Copics, I have real trouble with the black bleeding. But anyway, so I'm going ahead and putting a zero gray over this as, like I said, like a base undercoat or underpainting, right? And then I can go in with the darkers and it's going to blend a little bit nicer. Oh, but the reason I use the slick paper is I do, for some reason, like drawing on it better, and it erases a little bit better because of the coating. But also the colored pencils, you can get really, I'm not doing any colored pencils on these, but you can get real soft blending with a colored pencil if the paper is smooth like this and doesn't have any texture. Okay, I'm going to go in with I'm using a 3 now. A cold gray 3, a cool gray 3. And you'll notice I just I'm being really loose with it. And that's kind of like, you treat these like you do watercolors. People tend to overuse or overwork watercolors, and you don't want to do that. You want to lay them down fast and dirty. And it's kind of difficult to get used to it because you look at it and go, oh, it needs to be really soft and blended, like airbrush or something. And that is not what you want because airbrush looks crappy and cheesy. And so you want something a little bit looser. And once you kind of get used to it with your eye, that allows you to do something, a little bit sloppier and still think it looks okay, that's when you can really start doing some good stuff. And creating some shapes and stuff that are interesting to look at with the color. And then I'm hitting, after I hit it with the 3, I'm hitting it with a 1 to kind of blend it a little bit. I will probably go in and drop white highlights in over the top with my white chalk pencil, which works really well over marker and watercolor. It doesn't work over, you can't like colored pencil something and then use this chalk white pencil over the top of colored pencil. It won't work at all, but it does work over smoother painted surfaces like we're doing here. Because sometimes trying to leave the highlights in naturally is just really difficult. And so it's much easier to kind of do all your grayscale and then go in and hit your highlights after the fact. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Okay. I wish the resolution on these live feeds was better. Let's see, a black and white version of Garbage Man would be great. Present the art as it should be seen. I agree, Warren, but does the people that are actually buying the book, do they agree? You can't look at it from an artist standpoint. You have to look at it from a consumer standpoint. Gary Shipman's Titan Mouse of Might is filling that black and white comic void. Is it? Never heard of it. Who's publishing it? Is anybody buying it? I mean, I hate to sound like a mercenary, but it's kind of like you can only, be a fine artist to a certain degree, and then you got to pay your bills and all that kind of stuff. So you have to actually do stuff that hopefully has artistic merit, but also that people are going to buy. That's the tough thing. At least it has been for me. But again, you can see how loose I'm just kind of going in and scribbling this. And really, because I did the zero underneath, it really kind of gives it a softer edge. So you kind of get a little bit of a blending without really losing that sort of loose spontaneity. All right, so some of this is still not dark enough for me. So now I'm going to go in with a 4 and hit these shadow areas with a C4. So it feels like my 4 is dying on me, which means I'm going to have to refill, but I don't want to refill. It's such a pain in the butt. But you can see, because I've laid layers of ink down underneath this 4, I'm not even really having to blend this 4 all that much. It just sort of is blending itself because the paper's kind of wet with ink underneath it already. Four is dying. You can see that you're getting see what's going on there. I think I'm going with this 2. This 2 may be dry though. That 2 is dry as a bone. So I'm going to go in with a 1. Now what happens with these, I probably mentioned this, I know I've mentioned it before, but these layers add up. Okay, in other words, if I add this 1 over the top of a 3, it's going to get darker because it's just like an additive property like you would if you just kept putting watercolor over the top of watercolor. It is going to get darker even if you're using the same color because it builds up. That's exactly what's happening here. So now we feel like we're watching a black and white movie. Isn't that the goal? Okay, I want to get darker. Does he dare go darker yet? Yes, he does. Going to pull out the 5 here. Try to get some shadow underneath this creature's eyes. There we go. It's got to be creepy. And I'll run this 5 just really close to this black. and very loose. God, this 5 is drying up too. Must have been working on some other stuff. I have to refill all these, but not just yet. I got a bunch of Gesundheits for my sneezing. I prefer God bless, but I'll take Gesundheit. Oh, I don't even know what that means. It's German. It means something. I hate the American comic culture sometimes, all superheroes all the time. That's true. There doesn't seem to be much diversity of content. Shelley's
The creature.
For John Smith, of all people.
Should you put the creature from the Black Lagoon?
That's right.
Josh used to call it.
That's what my son used to call it, the creature from the Black Lagoon.
He doesn't now because he's 27.
That's right.
And that would be not.
And if I bring that up today, he'll probably get pissed at me, so I won't.
Yep. So we made apple crisp and cheesecake because we couldn't decide which one.
Well, Mom was down there. She goes, "Should I make it?" And I go, "I don't know how Shelley feels." So I said, "Just start, and if she comes down, you make."
Well, I made it, but now I feel like crap. Just some pain meds. I'm really
good. All right.
I think I'm a drug addict.
All right. So now you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go and punch up the line work on the around this. Good Helga. Good health, John says. She doesn't stick around, John. She kind of sticks her head in, says a few comments, and takes off. So she's not here to reply. But all right. I'm going to go back up, and it says Gary Shipman is an independent comic artist. He is crowdfunding his comic Titan Mouse of Might on Indigo in black and white and has nearly 30K in funding. Well, good. It's more than I got. John Smith looks fantastic. Have it on Blu-ray, watching as you draw. I assume you're talking about the creature. I haven't watched the Universal Monster movies in a long time, and I really need to because that's some good stuff. I just can't keep from fooling around with this. So I'm laying a 3 in over the top of that 5 that was drawing out, and that makes it darker, of course, because 3 plus 5 is 8. So it doesn't quite work that way, but you do get like I said, you do get an additive effect. So, all right. Now I'm going to stop messing with it. Oh, I forgot to do the water. Why is the vet calling me? Let's find out. Hello. Hi. I do. Well, newer. Yeah, well, that was back in, it was back in September. So it was kind of harsh, but we recovered and got ourselves a new one. Yes. Yeah. Were you saying I have to have the booster shot before we can do the grooming? Oh. Okay. Oh, right. Yeah. Oh. Oh, Yeah, well, it's actually, let me check my schedule, and you guys are there till how late are you there? Okay, let me call you back in a little bit after I figure out. And okay, great. All right, thanks. Oh, he's a load of fun. Okay, talk to you later. Bye-bye. I never mute my phone while streaming because you never know what exciting phone calls you might get. That was the vet, and just wanted to schedule the old puppy for his booster shots. Man, you get a new dog, and man, there's so many shots these dogs have to take. It's cost a fortune the first year, but we're going in for grooming because his if you haven't seen the dog, he's a German Schnauzer, miniature Schnauzer, and their hair, they don't shed. So we have to actually go get it cut. And his hair is just like getting curly and wild, and so we got to go in for a grooming appointment, and yeah, that's next week. So he'll have his first haircut, and we can first time we get to treat him like a little toy and get him cut any way we want. And oh, isn't he cute? And all that kind of stuff. So anyway, so that's probably the most exciting phone call I get anymore is the vet. Now, back in the old days, like Marvel used to call me and say, "Hey, would you like to draw this?" And so the phone calls were extremely important. Now they're really not because of email. All right, so what you can see what I'm doing here is I'm kind of punching up the holding line of the character. I don't know why I do that, but I just like the look of it. When it has a little bit bolder outline, sort of brings everything together for me a little bit better. Okay, so there's that. Then the last thing I do before I sign this thing, and oh, I still haven't done the water, have I? Let's do the water. Let's do the freaking water before I forget. Let me move this up here. Oh my gosh, now my zero is running out. Everything is out. And I guess that's what I'll be doing today is filling up pens. I don't have to do a lot down here, but just kind of an indication. I might have a better, maybe I got 2 zeros in here. One of these might actually have ink in it. This actually has some ink in it. I'm going to do it with a little bit of darker C2. I can't remember if C2 has any ink in it. We're going to find out. So does anybody know if those shows in Florida went off, or did they end up getting closed down? Because I remember they got the okay to do the show. In fact, the guys who are promoting them were like, "Hey, you want to come?" It's like, I was like, why would I go to Florida in August? That's the worst. July and August, no. It wasn't out of fear of COVID. It was out of fear of humidity. But I'm curious if those shows ever went off, or if they ended up getting canceled again. What an incredibly sucky year this has been, but interesting. And we'll never forget it, will we? That squeakiness. Okay, so I've indicated the water. I've inked this sucker up. Now I'm going to take a warm 3. Don't ask me why I started doing this. I just did because I think it looks cool, and that's pretty much the only reason I need, right? and I'm going to outline it with a warm gray because it contrasts the cool gray that I just this is actually darker and more vibrant in real life than what you guys are seeing there on the screen. It seems a bit washed out. Okay. I'll do the tree back here too because, you know, he deserves a little love as well. I'm gonna put him in the drawing. I might as well make him really part of the family. Look at that. Okay, so let's see if I can get him in here closer so you can see a little bit of the detail in there. I think that's pretty groovy. I really do. Anything else I want to do to this? See, that's a problem. Like you start noodling on something, you can just actually go all day. John Smith said, let's show what John said. I said it once, I'll say it again. That's fantastic. And I appreciate it, John. Glad you like it. The last thing you want to do is have someone go, especially the person you drew it for, go, wow, Aaron, thanks. That really blows. Can I get my money back? No, I try to do a good job. I mean, you got to take, I don't think you can ever approach this and just go, I'm going to hack this out and, you know, make a little money. And I mean, it's art, right? And as an artist, you have a certain amount of pride that you want to maintain that the stuff that's out there, because once I ship this to whoever, in this case, John, but, you know, it could get sold years from now or months from now. And, you know, these things go up on Comic Art Gallery and all over the place. And you don't want sucky art floating around with your name on it if you can help it. No, you can't always help it. Sometimes things just don't turn out as well as you'd like, but I try to do the best I can. All right. I guess I'll turn that off now. I've kind of made my point. Kristen, are you just now joining us? Because I'm about ready to wrap it up, but thank you. Thank you for joining me anyway. And the nice comments, I appreciate that. All right, so the last thing would be the old signature so I can claim ownership of it. You know what? I'm going to do one other thing. As you look at the creature's crotch for a minute, I'm going to do one more thing to this. Dun, 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 the creature, because it kind of feels like it needs a moon right up there, doesn't it? I think it does. Do I want it that big? About like that. No? Yeah, there we go. Right there it is. These are called circle templates. Truly the friend of any artist who needs to draw a circle. Ah, look at that. And the full moon is out, baby. And it took me about 2 seconds. So, oh, you know what I'm going to do? Now you know what I got to do. I just can't leave it like that. I'm telling you, just creating issues for myself. We're going to put a little warm gray in there. Just a little bit. Because my, I can't put a lot in there because my marker's running out. Okay. Like I said, normally I do not do backgrounds at all in these things. They're just the character, but every once in a while you just kind of feel like I have to. Plus, I owe John quite a bit over the years, so he gets a little extra. Yeah. Okay. Oh, Kristen says you've been silently lurking for an hour at least. Okay, good. Thank you. I want to make sure you're getting your full entertainment value for your dollar. All right. Okay. So now we got a moon up there. You know, it's feeling pretty groovy. I'm digging it. I'm gonna call this a wrap. So there you go, folks. Start to finish convention sketch by yours truly, the creature from the Black Lagoon. All right, we'll throw him off to the side. Okay, let's just take a look real quickly at what we're still working on. Thor, Wonder Woman amalgam thing. So that's all going to get markered, inked and markered. You remember Ms. Marvel? This is from the first night. I haven't progressed on it at all. I really like how her face turned out. And I forgot I got to put a mask on her, which I will do. And then there was the Supergirl. That I finished last night, at least the penciling stage of it. And so if everything goes well, I'll have all of these done tomorrow. And let me check the old schedule. As I zoom out, I'll turn this on me. There I am. I took a shower today, and I shaved, so I feel okay like being on camera. But let me check my schedule. When I say my schedule, I don't really have a schedule. I mean my list of commissions, and let's see what I've got left to do. Oh, I've got Boom Boom, the New Mutants character. I've got Scarlet Witch in the book, but it hasn't shown up yet, so I can't do that. And then I've got a sketch cover I'm supposed to do, but that's at the post office right now, and I didn't get it on Friday, so I won't be getting that till Monday, so I'll have to do that next week for Scott if he's here listening. And then, Cal Wong wanted something. I wrote down that he paid for it, but I can't remember what. It's probably in the email. So I still have one more to do. So I have Boom Boom. So let's do Boom Boom tomorrow. That'll be our goal, is to do Boom Boom tomorrow. And so I think that's for Jason Scanlon, who's been in and out for the last couple of days. So if he's still here, you might want to tune in tomorrow. So that's what I'm going to do. Look at that. Look at that colossal mess. I'm not even trying to hide it back there. It's just, there's artwork everywhere. There's files. There's toys. There's just junk everywhere. It's literally a comic geek's wonderland. But you might trip and fall looking around. So I really need to get this place straightened up. But will I ever? Well, like I said, Josh, my son's bringing his girlfriend over. And I know she's going to want to come up here and check this out, because this is like the, you got to see her in the studio when you come over to the house. So I'm going to try and pick it up a little bit so that it's not completely shameful and embarrassing. But I think there's an expectation, isn't there, that if you go into an artist studio, that it's, you know, it's not like this clean hospital operating room. It's, you know, stuff is going on. There's art everywhere. There's stuff piled up. There's almost kind of this excitement of rummaging through and seeing what you might find. At least that's how I justify it. So I went to William Stout's studio in Pasadena several years ago. Terry and I, Dotson and I both, we were on it. It was in the 90s actually. And he has this great old building. He has like the entire house. And it's just a one level, but in the center, he would do like, he had a stage set up for live models, right? So he would have, you know, figured groups, people get together to do figure drawing. But then he had like these side rooms, you know, that had curtains in front of them or sliders, you know, and in there was just flat files and stacks of artwork. I mean, just all over the place. So I was just going through there, rummaging through all this stuff. Excuse me. He had the life drawing going on, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to go through the files, you know. So it was just like production work from movies and stuff that no one had ever seen or been published, and just stacked up and piled everywhere. So it was quite exciting for me anyway. So I kind of like trying to recreate that sort of madness in here. There is just books and comics and artwork and shipping supplies and junk everywhere, toys. It's a mess in here, really. So it's the Rona. See, again, I don't know what that means. Never trust an artist with a clean studio. Now that I agree with. That's actually, you know what, I should put it on a plaque and put it up in here. Also, I love the, you know, messy desk is the sign of a genius. So, you know, Jason Scanlon, yes, Boom Boom. I'm going to do it tomorrow. What's a Boom Boom? It's a character. She like throws like little energy bursts at people or something. She's one of the X-Men. Hyper Potato loves the Ms. Marvel. Thank you. I appreciate it. He says, that Ms. Marvel is hot, I think, is a flame there, and I don't even care about Ms. Marvel. I drew 2 years of Ms. Marvel. You should care. Get the trade paperback. It's out. It's been out for years. Okay, well, that's pretty much it. Tomorrow, I'll be a little bit more traditional again. We'll start with looking at the table, but quite frankly, the table is wrecked right now, and I didn't have enough time to get it organized, and I figured you guys probably really didn't want me to go over the same stuff I already got over 2 days in a row. But I will remind everybody tomorrow about sketchbooks. And, well, let me remind you of sketchbooks right now. Let me put this, before I leave, let me put this up. There's my scroll, right? Let me reach over here. 64-page hardcover color, full color, not just partial color, full color. Let me prove it. And my throat starts getting dry from all this talking, and then start having the COVID cough. Look at that. That is full color, baby. Oh. Mm-hmm. So I'm not lying. And it's a nice hefty book with a spine. Anyway, these are $25, signed and numbered, limited edition to 750, or you can get a sketch inside for $45. And this weekend only, free shipping. All my con weekends basically are free shipping. If you come in, 2 weeks from now for a book, you're going to pay $5 shipping. You can get it right now, free shipping. So anyway, ordering information is scrolling along the bottom there, but just so you're aware of it. I assume we'll have some people come in after the fact and check this video out after we're no longer live. But there you go. I have now to go finish cleaning up the house before my son gets here, because we don't want to embarrass him because we're with a dirty house. So I'm going to go finish cleaning. Not in here probably, though. And, hopefully we'll all have a good evening tonight. So tomorrow evening will be day 4. We'll wrap up ErinCon 4, the San Diego edition. I don't have the specific time, but I will post it on Facebook and on Twitter. So be on the lookout for that. And if I can ever figure out how to make this guest thing work, maybe I can draw Terry, and maybe I'll sucker David Williams into coming in tomorrow if I can actually make it work. So anyway, thanks again for joining me. As always, I really appreciate it. If you want information about original artwork, whatever, email me anytime, message me. I'm always open. And hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks again. Have a good day.